Okay, so hello, Virginia Wells. How are you today?
Good. How are you doing?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. I am so glad you came by to see us today. I just want to ask you a couple of quick questions. We're going to go over the intake form here. We do this with everybody, but I just want to say to you right off the bat, everything that you say to us is confidential. Okay. This stays right here in this office, and we're here. Our endeavor is to get you better,
Okay.
and we're going to work with you at whatever it takes. I'm going before you leave. I'm going to give you my personal cell number. You can email me. I check my emails periodically, religiously. And if you're needing something, you are free to get a hold to me. And if you can't get a hold of me, I'm going to give you my assistant's phone number as well. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
because I
Thank you.
want you to. We want to make ourselves readily available for you. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
So, oh, you're quite welcome. So I see that you're 32 years old.
That's right.
32 years old, and it says here that you have a child.
I do. His name is John.
Uh,
He's about 4 years old,
yeah.
almost five.
Oh man, that is so wonderful. I see that John has you wrapped around his finger, is what it looks like, huh?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I know I went through that myself with my daughter, so so I understand that. So it says here too that you're divorced, is that correct?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's been a rough past year. The divorce is still fairly recent, and
Mhm.
yeah, it's just been really hard.
Okay. Well, how long have you been divorced?
Well, we've been separated for about a year, and we've been divorced for about a couple of months. So
Okay.
it took a while to get the divorce finalized, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you this right here. Divorce is a very bitter pill to swallow.
Mhm.
Right, wrong, or indifferent. It doesn't really matter who was the corporate in this situation. It's just that we're concerned about getting you better, and that's what we're going to do. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So that's perfect. So I see that you was referred here by our agency by Dr. Hall.
Yeah, I had gone in to see about maybe some medicine. I was just feeling so anxious, and I just felt like I just needed something to take the edge off.
Oh, okay.
I've had some panic attacks before, and I can't have that happen when I'm with my son. Like I'm really scared that I would have a panic attack when I'm by myself with him, and so I just felt like I needed something, and he gave me some Xanax that I can take when I'm feeling
Sure.
just very intensely anxious. So
Sure. Sure. Well, it's our endeavor here to help you to cope. Once again, divorce and being a single mom is not, it's not an easy thing, especially in these day and ages that we live in. And we're going to work a treatment plan for you to just give you some more assurance that you are going to make it, and
okay,
that's our goal, is to get that. And I'm going to remind you over and over again that you're going to make it because you're really somebody special. God didn't make a mistake when He made you. Okay.
okay,
All
thank you.
right. All right. So let me ask you this right here. Moving along, in the last year, have you experienced a significant change of stressors in your life? Would you say in the last year?
I think mostly the divorce, and then um, it's been really difficult too because the area that I was living in, well, with my now ex-husband, no
Yeah.
longer my husband, um, it was a really expensive area of town, and
Yeah.
he makes pretty good money, and I just couldn't afford to live there by myself in
Yeah.
an apartment. And so we had to move 30 minutes away from my job and my
Yeah.
son's preschool. And so now I kept him in the same preschool because I felt it was important for him to have as much stability as possible, because this is so much change for him. And so now we have to get up that much earlier and drive 30 minutes in just to get him to school and me to get to work. So that's been really difficult.
Sure, sure. Well, I understand that. I just want to tell you too, I didn't get a chance to thank you for filling this form out, because I know it's got a lot of it got questions that make you feel a little uncomfortable. But I appreciate the fact that you took the time to come in a few minutes early and to fill this out for us to talk about. So, and what this does is give me an opportunity to engage with you, and to be able to dialogue with you a little bit about the situation. So I just want to thank you ahead of time. I want to talk a little bit, if you don't mind, about your experiences that you've had in this form. Looking at this form, if you don't mind me doing that right quick, you said that there were some extreme depressed moods. Are you able to share a little bit about that in a nutshell at this time?
Sure. Yeah. I've done some therapy before. When I was in college, I went and saw like a campus counselor because I had battled anxiety, and I didn't want to go to class. I felt just really tired and fatigued, and just really lost interest in school was my life. I was really focused on school, and I couldn't overcome. And so, I know how bad I can get, and I was kind of feeling this anxiety again. And I know that I can't, just stop going to work. Like, I'm my only income now, and I have to take care of my son. And so I didn't want to get to a point to where I couldn't function as far as, I can't lose my job. And so,
Sure.
But yeah, it can get that bad.
Yeah, sure. So what I'm hearing too from you, if you don't mind me saying, is I'm hearing a little anxiety. Would that be fair to say that you've had a little anxiety as well? Maybe a little panicky at time because change. Yeah.
I'm really nervous. When my ex comes and takes my son, and just, he hasn't shown himself to be the most responsible in the last few months. And so it's really difficult. And I'm worried all the time. And then I'm worried about being there for my son and giving him enough time. And then just doing everything by myself. And I have my mom in my life, and she's really supportive, and she comes over to help me. But I feel like I've got to kind of get used to this and do things on my own, and I'm just worried that everything's going to come crashing down.
Sure. Yes. Well, again, we're going to give you some coping mechanisms to help you, and that's going to be a part of your treatment plan. So I can assure you that we're going to get through this together. Okay. All right. Perfect. So let me ask you another thing here. You mentioned about unexplained memory lapses that you might have had. Share with me a little bit about the lapses that you might have had.
I guess the best way to describe that is, this past year going through all of this, it's just really blurry. Like I know we celebrated Christmas, but I can't really remember a whole lot of details about it. And, I just feel like I have some gaps from the past year where I just can't quite connect all of the dots. And that makes me worry too, because I don't want to miss out on my son growing up. And he only gets to be 4 once. He only gets to start school once. And
right.
I'm so worried I'm missing out on his life by not being able to track what's going on.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this right here. You mentioned about repetitive thoughts. What kind of thoughts are you having, like repetitive over and over? Tell me a little bit about that. If you're able to.
I'm constantly worried about my schedule. I'm trying to make sure that I don't miss anything. And so I think about out my schedule constantly, and okay, we're going to do this, and we have to be here at this time, and so I'm running my schedule through my head, and I try not, to let it take over, but I'm just so afraid that I'm going to miss something, and everything, like I said, is going to come crashing down and fall apart.
Sure. Well, you know what we can do as part of your treatment plan? Why don't you take a few moments and, I'm going to have you come back to see me, but we'll talk about that just in a little bit. But I want you to write out your schedule for me, and let's sort of look at that together, and maybe we can give you some relief in that way. So just if you don't mind, just write out your schedule, those things that you think about so often, because some of those little things are the things that will sometimes weigh you down, and it's not, and this is not to say, it's not a good feeling, and it takes away from you as a whole, because just with the challenges that you have already, being a single mom, if that was the only thing that you came to see me about today, that would be enough right there. But just being a single mom, but then you got the divorce that you've gone through. You got all these other stressors that you're dealing with. You got your job you're dealing with. So there's quite a bit of things, and I understand and I can detect that there's a lot of things going on. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to establish a treatment plans for you, and we're going to work you right on through this area in your life right this moment. So is it, you wrote down that, I just want to ask you this again, but you wrote down that you don't have any type of suicidal ideation or thoughts at all about your life?
No, not right now. I have in the past, and it was something that I dealt with my therapist in college. But okay. I know, I have to be here to raise my son, and
good, very good.
I don't want to get to a point where I get so overwhelmed that starts happening again, because that was part of the depression before.
Yeah, very, very good, and so that's very good. That's very comforting, and that's very good, because that little he's dependent on you, He's
my baby. I have to take care of him.
Yes, he is. So tell me a little bit. I'm going to turn the page on you right quick. Tell me a little bit about your job. I see you you work for an accounting firm, huh?
Yeah, I'm a bookkeeper. I have an accounting degree, and so I'd like to maybe be a CPA one day, and I just can't worry about that right now. But I just prepare like payroll reports for our clients and their payroll, and file their quarterly taxes and things. And so, it keeps me busy, and it can get stressful. There's certain times around in the year where tax season, of course, and then when I'm preparing payroll, I've got deadlines every other week. So people get paid. So, but I really love it. My people in my office are really supportive, and
good.
I start crying sometimes at work, and I'm always so embarrassed by it. But my boss has just been really understanding, and the girls that I work with in my office, it's like, it's just okay. And
yeah, well,
so
yes, and I just want to assure you again, we're going to get through this. I told you you're going to hear me say this a few times, but I want to ingrain it in your mind that we're going to get through this, and you're going to be just fine. How would you say your health is right now?
I would say it's pretty good.
Okay, well, very good, very good. Do you get out to exercise a little bit every now and then, or?
No, my doctor talked to me about that, and it's just so hard. It's hard to get up really early in the morning. I'm pretty tired, and then I can't really leave my son by himself at home, and while I go for a walk or something around the apartment complex. And by the time we get home and I get dinner cooked and dishes done and we clean up toys, and then it's taking a bath, and then it's getting to bed, and it just seems like there's no time to do it.
Sure. Well, I understand that, and so my next question would lead to is, how are you sleeping at night then? If, are you sleeping okay at night, or how would you describe your sleep?
It's not very good. I have to be careful. Like with the Xanax, sometimes it makes me drowsy. If I feel like I have to take one because of the anxiety. But then my son's having a hard time sleeping in his new room because he's just not used to things. And so he's sleeping with me. And I mean, you can imagine a 4-year-old in bed, and he moves all night long. And so I'm in and out of sleep all night long.
Wow. So would it be safe to say that you have a poor quality sleep, you would say?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all right. We're gonna work that into our treatment plan as well, and we will address that as well. Would you say that you notice here? I noticed here on your intake form it talked about your eating habits.
Mm-hmm.
Are you having a difficult time? And if so, what type of problem are you thinking you're having? Are you eating less? You're eating too much, or not enough?
Oh, I'm probably eating a little too much. I know when I get stressed, I eat, and sometimes I just feel like I just want like snacky food and as a comfort. And so fortunately we have a vending machine down the hall at my office, and I find myself, getting a bag of chips or some M&Ms, and I just kind of shovel it in while I'm doing things. And then I look up and I realize I've, eaten all this stuff that, I don't normally eat. So.
Sure. Okay. All right. That's fine. And like I said, we'll address that too, because, the foods that you intake, it does affect your mood. And I can tell you that as a psychologist, I can tell you that will, the foods that you put into your bodies, if it's not if you have too much sugar, too much caffeine, it affects you as a whole. And yes, it does. So what I want you to do is we're going to work up a treatment plan for that and get you some help in that area. Okay. Let me ask you this again. I noticed you wrote down here that you don't use any alcohol or substance abuse or anything like that, right? You don't have any.
No, sometimes I'll have a glass of wine if I'm, out with a friend at dinner, but I mean, that's rare now that I get to go and do that. So.
Sure. Okay. All right. That's not a problem at all. Okay. Well, we're moving right along here. You're doing well. So let's go into the spirituality here. Are you affiliated with a church, or do you go to church, or do you?
Yeah, I do. We try to go to church every week if we can, and even on Wednesdays. And I'm really a part of my church community, and I'm so thankful that I have them. They've been really encouraging, and so God's just really important in my life, and trying to lean on Him as I go through these things. And it's hard. So
Sure.
I try to still keep connected with my friends at church, and
Good.
they're all married, and it's hard to kind of do things with couples sometimes. And so, but yeah, I try to still make myself a part of church.
Oh, good. Very good. So what type of church do you go to? Is it
it's a non-denominational church.
Great. That's wonderful. That's good. I do too. I go to a non-denominational church as well. So I understand that. Well, let me turn the page on you once more. Tell me a little bit about your family mental health. I noticed down here you said that your mother and your grandmother had a bout with depression. They had a struggle with depression. In a nutshell, without going into too much detail, tell me a little bit about your mother and your grandmother as far as their depression, the bout with depression.
I think probably kind of similar to what I experienced too. I can just remember my mom would just kind of seem down sometimes when I was growing up, and she talks about that when she was growing up with my grandma.
Sure.
Kind of just be kind of down or out of it, and just have a hard time engaging with life sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's fine. And your dad, you said he struggled with anxiety and as well as panic. attacks. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. Yeah, my dad was a perfectionist, and everything had to be just absolutely, I's dotted, T's crossed, or else he would just kind of get really anxious, and he had a lot of fear about things, and so he would a lot of times have panic attacks and just get really overwhelmed. And so I guess I come by all this pretty honest.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. So anyway, I'm not going to ask you these other questions because I think you've covered them and you've done a very good job. But there are just about 3 or 4 remaining questions that I need to ask you and talk to you about. And so what we're going to do now is that we've sort of talked about the negative a little bit. Now we're going to talk about some positive things. Okay.
Okay.
So I want you to just think for a moment. Just tell me, what are your strengths? What do you consider to be your strengths?
I'm really good at organizing. I think that's why I can have my schedule that I have. We're so dependent on it. If I didn't have my schedule, I don't know what I would do. And I just try to keep us very organized, so that everything's in its place and it's ready to go, and hopefully to make it easier. And I have to stay really organized at work because I have biweekly deadlines for payroll and paying people different times. And so
Sure.
Yeah, I'm really just good at organization.
Okay, very good, very good. So would you say that that you like yourself most of the time?
Yeah.
That's convincing.
That's a really hard one for me. It's hard not to feel like I'm the one to blame. I'm the one that filed for divorce.
Yeah.
And even though I tried to get into counseling with him and try to work this out, and I tried to get him to even talk to our pastoral staff and things. And so I just have a lot of blame right now, and I feel like I set my son up for this just horrific life, and I don't know, it's really hard right now. It's really hard.
I have good news for you. You have been fearfully and wonderfully made, and everything you've gone through in your life, God knew about it. So we're going to get through that. We're going to develop a treatment plan for that as well. And we're going to give you more than just coping strategies. We're going to give you plans and direction.
Okay.
And when this is all said and done, I'm going to ask you that same question again, and you're going to tell me a whole lot of things. Okay. So I'm looking forward to that. Okay.
Okay.
And I want to ask you this too, and then we'll call it a session. But I want to ask you, what are your goals? What are your immediate goals for therapy right now? What would you like to see happen?
I just really want to get a handle on this anxiety. I know that, back when I first started going to college and I was feeling so overwhelmed, it did shut me down, and I just felt like I went through just, a really hard year with depression, and I know that I can't shut down with my son. So I know it was everything my doctor said I've been through. I should just probably come and just talk it through with somebody, because that seemed really helpful before. And so I just want to be okay again. I can't be this worried. I can't be this nervous. And I just can't do it. It's just so hard right now.
Yes. So I tell you what, again, we're going to make it.
Okay.
If you don't remember anything I say today, you remember this: we are going to make it. Okay. And we're gonna do everything in our power, and we're gonna trust God, and we're gonna get through this situation. Okay. I just want to thank you so much for coming in. And what I would like to do is schedule another meeting next week. Are you able to do that next week? Mm-hmm. And then what we will do is, we will evaluate. I'm going to look over some notes. I've taken notes here today and try to create a treatment plan for you. and to sort of see how long it's going to take. So I won't have an answer today as to how many sessions that we will have, but by next week I'll have a better understanding of which direction we need to go. So I have to do my homework, of course, and to be fair to you and to me. Okay, so that's what we will do, and then we'll have you back. And so you'll see my assistant on your way out, and she'll set up a time for next week. Okay. Okay, Virginia, I just want to thank you so much for coming in today and for trusting us, for sharing your life with us. And I look forward to working with you, and you have a bright future ahead of you. And that little boy that you so love, oh my goodness, he's going to have a great life. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Okay, dear. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.